Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about something, well, maybe a little bit unorthodox, a little bit odd or unusual regarding the 12 zodiac signs. And I'm going to talk about the way that these 12 zodiac signs walk, based on my perception and my studies and my reading, over the years, knowledge I've accumulated through observation and through my readings and studies. Well, anyway, let me get started. The first, I'm going to go in chronological order of the zodiac signs. This can apply to sun, moon, or ascendant, but I would think it would be more sun and ascendant because this is more connected with the physical body. Well, anyway, first sign being Aries. Aries, I have noticed with them, they do have, when they walk, a lot of them, the head seems to go in front of the rest of their physical body, and kind of really it correlates or corresponds with the ram, the way that a ram kind of moves. And Aries, being very impatient, likes to walk in front of the rest of the crowd too. I've noticed they have that leadership capacity, and I think that has something to do with that, for having this propensity to walk in front of others, and they just want everything done yesterday. And I think there's a connection with that, and because of their impatience, they have a tendency to walk pretty quickly, I would think, more so than the average person. Now, Taurus, that's a different kettle of fish. Now, Taurus is like the antithesis of this, because Taurus is very deliberate, methodical. They move very slowly, I think, with a lot of prudence and caution. It's interesting, though, that some can trump at times. I have Taurus rising. I've had a tendency to do that. That's why I make sure when I'm walking around in my residence that my shoes are off almost immediately right when I come home. But yet some Tauruses can be very good dancers, as there is a certain grace and elegance with them. Some Taurus people can be light on their feet. Now I'm going to go Gemini. Now, Geminis can have a very quick step. Geminis move often at a very frenetic pace. It's difficult to keep up with them. I think there's a connection with that in the way they think, and they're just moving in general. Their thoughts seem to move much faster than the average person, and I think they feel almost compelled often not just to keep moving, but they move very quickly, and it's a very restless sign, and I think there's a connection with that. They'll go do one thing, and then they'll go hurry up and walk into whatever else is connected with the next task at hand. So I do see this in Gemini. Now, Cancers can be, they may kind of shuffle along a little bit. I've noticed this with them in Pisces, that the feet can sometimes kind of shuffle along. It seems like the movements are such where the feet are not always, I mean, they're coming off the ground, but there's a little dragging, there's a little shuffling along with it. And like the sign, I have seen Cancer people, sometimes they do kind of walk to the side to side a little. I think there's a correlation with that. And just sometimes their often indirect approach to things. And I do happen to notice that with Cancers, they might have a timid, hesitant gait as well. Now, with Leo, one way to describe this, very dignified walk. They're very proud. I think sometimes the chest is up, fairly pronounced and stands out, and they're very, being a dignified sign, that they are very proud. They have very strong presence, and they're charismatic, and when they walk into a room, they really do command attention. Very likely to go unnoticed. And next sign. Now, Virgos, like Gemini, have the quick step, and they're often in a hurry. I think that's part of the reason why they walk fast. I think their quick movements are often connected with the work part of their sphere or sector. of life. They need to get this thing done. They got hurry up and I'm going to go do the next thing. They just need to stay busy. As opposed to Gemini, it's just movements in general regardless of the task. But I think with Virgo, it's more pertaining to work-related matters. And they could be very hurried. Another thing that's distinctive I've noticed about the Virgo walk, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, I've noticed especially with Sun and Virgo rising people, that there seems to be some proclivity to bounce a little bit when they walk, and I don't know if you're welcome to comment on this. I don't know if other people have noticed this, and I'm not sure what the rationale or reasoning is behind this. But I'm not saying this facetiously, I have noticed that Virgos have that tendency to bounce a little bit when they walk, a lot of them, through my observations. Now, the next sign, Libra, something very elegant and graceful about their walking. They're very balanced. It's a very even type walk, I think, from my observations. It seems to be they go at an average normal pace. They're not too slow or methodical, but they're not moving super fast like a Virgo or Gemini or Aries either. So they have, out of all the walks, I think they have the most balanced, and this correlates with their nature, I believe, as well, because Libra strives for equilibrium, and they have a balanced disposition and temperament. Now the next sign, Scorpio. Now the movements of Scorpio can be methodical and deliberate, but they don't have a tendency to be heavy. They seem to be controlled the walks. Also, being that we look at Scorpios can be kind of sneaky sometimes, they can be very surreptitious and stealth-like in their movements. And I don't know if you notice that Scorpios, I think more than the other signs, can often be bow-legged, I've noticed as well. Sagittarius, this is another story. Sagittarius sometimes can be a little bit clumsy in their walking. They might be somewhat accident prone, and they're not really the most graceful walker, but at the same token, as far as athleticism goes and in sports, they really obviously can move very strong movements when they're walking. The legs can often be, the thighs can be fairly strong, and are able to have, because of their athletic prowess and ability, those movements where we say, well, they're clumsy more in everyday life. When they're on like a sports field, I think we see a different story, and they use this athleticism and the strength in this area of their body to their advantage in sports, if so inclined, if the Sagittarius is interested or has the proclivity for athletics. The next sign, Capricorn, this is another one of those deliberate, methodical walkers. And I would say Capricorn is at average speed. There's nothing very distinctive in my mind about their walk. They're very conventional, except they can be a little bit heavy-footed. I would say this is a sign that really, I don't really see anything that distinctive about, I guess you could say, as far as their walking movements go. And some can be a little bit more prudent and might walk a little slower than the average person or sign, because it is an earth sign. Well, now Aquarius. Now, obviously for Aquarius, this can be unique and distinctive. This is the one that's hard to pin down. I don't have any specific description on or is one type of walk that's emphasized with this sign. However, whatever it is, it's going to be, sometimes it can be very unconventional, and I think they're going to walk basically how they want to walk, and they're not going to worry about what others say. And this is a correlation to their personality and temperament, as Aquarians can often be unconventional and eccentric, and I would say for the most part with the walking, that's how it kind of applies to this, and they have basically a what me worry attitude regarding this as well, I would say. Now, last but not least, as far as Pisces with their walk, well, this is obviously kind of unique as well. They could have kind of a sauntering, casual, leisurely type of walk. often a slow walk. They almost appear like sometimes some of them floating or gliding. Maybe this is connected with the ethereal quality of this sign. Interestingly enough, actor Jason Alexander, he was singing, doing his rendition of, I forget the name of the song. It was a song in Bye Bye Birdie, and he did his rendition of it. And when he was singing and he was dancing at the same time, it seemed like he was almost like gliding off the ground, and he has Pisces rising. And I just thought it was very interesting the way that was. And I think I've noticed that Pisces kind of have that, they have that casual, slow, that walk, and they do appear, some of them do appear like they have kind of like that little, that floating walk, like that walking on air kind of thing. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the zodiac signs and how they walk and their walking. And two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because a person, astrologically, is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.